In this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips for choosing the best domain name for your affiliate marketing website. Let's get started. Hello YouTube, it's Alston and welcome to my channel where I help you find the success that you're looking for online. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to learn different tips and tricks on how to find success online. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips for choosing the best domain name for your website, and I'm also going to show you a few examples. I'm going to show you where to go to find available domain names, and I'm also going to show you where to go to find different ideas. So tip number one, the shorter the better. You want the shortest domain name possible so that people have a better time or an easier time remembering the name. For example, what would be easier to remember? AlstonGodbolt.com or Alston Godbolt's greatest affiliate marketing website, information.com. It's obvious that the shorter the better. We don't have a lot of available memory space in our brains. So the shorter that you can make the name, the easier it is for people to remember it. So that's number one. Number two, the name must stand the test of time. And what I mean by that is we all have gone through maybe the 2000s where we spelled skills with a Z instead of an S, or, any of those hokey things that we did in the 80s and 90s. You want a domain name that will make sense 20 years from now and that you can be proud of so that you can continue to grow your business. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you're using S's instead of Z's and no dollar signs or anything silly that's popular right now. Number three, the name must be easy to remember. And again, this also goes along with being the shorter the better. It's very difficult to remember Alston Godbolt's fun-filled website instead of maybe AGFFW. That might be a little bit easier to remember because it's a little bit hokey, it's a little bit out there. So you want to make sure that you want a name that's easy to remember or unique. For example, CNET's easy for me to remember. I don't necessarily know what CNET stands for, but it's easy for me to remember CNET because it's short. It's 4 letters, and it's just much easier for me. Another tip, and this is huge, you want to make sure that you use .com. .com is preferred over the other types like .net, .org. Those other TLDs have different meanings. For example, .org is usually a nonprofit organization. .gov is the United States government. You can't use that. But you want to use .com because people affiliate .com with a trust. When you see a .net, you kind of look at it side-eye or weary, unless you have like Spectrum.net. You would think Spectrum would have a .com, but it's a pretty well-known website. It's a cable company. But for the most part, if you're just getting started out, you want to try and find something that has a .com first. If you can't find anything, if you searched every domain name possible and it's either too long or it doesn't make sense or it has a Z where it should have an S, then you can look at .net or some of those other ones. But I would recommend, in order to exude a level of trust, to start off with a .com. Another thing that you want to make sure that you remember, and this is key, and this is the top 10 tips for choosing the best domain name, is you want to make sure that you do not use brand names. You don't want to use NikeShoes.com because that could be a copyright infringement. You don't want to use YouTubeHelper.com, again, because you could be sued. You could be liable for that. The brand could sue, so YouTube could sue you. Customers could sue you if you're telling them something and it turns out it doesn't work or whatever. So like if I had a website that said YouTubeTipsandTricks.com, people are going to think, okay, well, he must work for YouTube or he has inside information. And the information that I provide may or may not be correct. Now, obviously, you're aiming to provide information that's correct, but it's possible that things change over time and the information is no longer correct. So do not use brand names at all. There's always a different way to get around it. So you could say athleticapparel.com instead of Nike shoes, or whatever. And that would actually extend to slogans as well. So I would not use Just Do It or It's in the Game or anything like that, because that's easily associated with the brand. All right, next is you need to think about your website size. Are you planning on having a micro or a macro niche site? So what I mean by micro versus macro, for example, are you going to have a website that talks about only Sharpie pens, or are you going to have a website that talks about pens, pencils, protractors, school supplies in general. So when you're going into it, think about the website, ink, dryerasepens.com versus the Pen Palace. That might be something that you should consider when thinking about domain names for your affiliate marketing business. Micro versus macro. Macro is big, micro is small. So next, what is the goal of the website? Are you promoting a product or service, or are you building a brand? That will sway, or that'll help determine the domain name or the type of website that you create. For example, if I want to create affiliate information or create a website using the penpalace.com, that means I'm promoting or my website's going to be an affiliate-based site. However, if I'm building a brand, maybe I want the website to be alstongodbolt.com, where I spend some time talking about my favorite pens. Do you see the difference there? If that makes sense, I want you to write makes sense. So think about, before you do this, think about, before creating a domain name, think about the goal of the website. Next, characters are unwelcome. Do not use characters when building when getting a domain name. So don't use dashes, don't use underlines, I don't think you can't use any of the other ones, but don't use dashes or underlines, because people will forget the dashes and underlines when they're referencing your site. For example, when people say when people think about like alstongodbolt.com, they automatically think it's one word. People are going to forget to navigate to alston-godbolt.com. A, it looks bad. B, people just don't think of websites that way. And so what may happen is, let's say you have a penpalace.com and then you have a pen_palace.com. People are always going to go to Pen Palace instead of pen_palace, even if you have the better content. So make sure that you do not use characters when searching for a domain name. Next is, let me show you a few different places where you can find available domain names and find domain name ideas. So the first place that I like to go to is called instantdomainsearch.com. As you will be able to see here on the screen here in a second. So this is instantdomainsearch.com, all one word. As you can see, it's a .com. Basically what you do, and this is really cool, because if you just have an idea, so let's say we type in pen. Pen will tell you, it's telling you that it's already taken. You can see who owns it and you can make an offer. It's probably owned by like Gillette or somebody huge. It looks like someone is just sitting on it. Anyway, so pens doesn't work for us. But what we could do is we could use depend.com, penclothing.com. It gives you a whole list of options, and then it tells you to the right if it's available or not. On the left, under extensions, it gives you pen with the different extensions that are at the end. Again, you want to stay away from anything outside of .com unless you cannot find anything that's even remotely close to what you're trying to create. For example, if you have, let's say your name is Mike Smith, pretty common name, you'll probably have difficulty finding Mike Smith. So if we type in Mike Smith, obviously that's going to be taken. You do have some other options. You could say, I would not do like mikesmith.business, because again, people are automatically thinking .com. And so you're going to lose out to mikesmith.com, even though you have mikesmith.info or mikesmith.life. I would just completely stay away from those. I would keep trying to find something that's associated with your website that still has, that's relatively short and meets the object of, meets the website's goals. So that's pretty important. But you can just keep going through this to find something that works for you in mikesmith.com. Again, and you can do this for anything. Let's say, we'll say Apple. Obviously, that's not possible, but you could say Mo Apple, Sports Apple. I mean, there's just a ton of different options for you. One thing that I do want to mention is the domain name doesn't matter that much. A lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about your domain name and trying to find the right domain name. It's more important for you to get content on the internet than for you to waste time with your domain name. One example that I love to give is the website Avocado. Avocado means absolutely nothing, but they have created a brand out of that name. CNET means nothing, but they've created a brand out of the domain name CNET. There are just a number of websites out there that you navigate to, that you can find, that meant absolutely nothing, but they created a brand out of it. You create great content. It doesn't really matter what your domain name is. Obviously, you want to keep it PG or PG-13, but the content will always outrank the domain. In years past, in decades past, people said if you wanted an affiliate marketing website, you should have the product that you're promoting in the domain name. That's not as doable because there's so many websites out there, and it doesn't matter. There's just so many different options, so many different examples out there where you can see that. All right, so let's look at the next one. Again, this is instantdomainsearch.com. Basically, you just put in an idea. You actually can do a generator here, and it'll generate different ideas for you as well. But the other one that I like and that I go to is called leandomainsearch.com. And here it is on the screen. Find a great available domain names for your website in seconds. Enter a term to build your new name. And this is going to be very similar to Domain Search Generator. You can just type in, we'll say Apple, and it will give you a whole bunch of different names. And I believe all of these are .com. So we can actually shorten this by length or sort this by length. And if we click on arcapple.com. Could be a good domain name depending on what your niche is. But again, you can play around with this, but I urge you not to spend too much time thinking about this, because for every moment you're not putting content on the internet is a moment lost. It's a moment someone else is putting content on the internet that can outrank yours. But again, if you just type in anything, it will come up with a bunch of different ideas for you to choose from. I want you to click the first link in the description to learn everything that I know about affiliate marketing. If you have questions, if there are gaps that I haven't answered in this video or any other video that I've created, click that first link. You'll also get a free email PDF guide to learn email marketing and take your email marketing game to the next level. So click that first link in the description to learn everything that I know about affiliate marketing and also to get that free guide. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.